Jackie McMichael, and I have been teaching music for many years. The instruments I play are piano, organ, flute and harp. I've also been the musical director for local community theatre and church, and been an accompanist and singer for choirs, singers and instrumentalists. And in the course of my teaching career, conducted choirs and instrumental ensembles, so my musical experience has been very wide. One of the highlights of my career has been the opportunity to teach and examine the HSC music. I love working with senior music students, watching them discover their musical strengths and their musicianship with their fellow students. As a marker of both HSC Course 1, Performance and Oral, I have gained much professional development for myself and for my students. Marking the performance component is one of the most enjoyable experiences ever. All music examiners enjoy watching and listening to all performances, an important aspect to remember as an HSC candidate. All we want for you is to enjoy what you're doing. HSC Oral has been interesting and enjoyable also. I'm particularly impressed with the marking criteria which allows every candidate the opportunity to earn the best possible result through a concentrated multiple marking system. Now let's look at Course 1 from an examiner's perspective. So let's now have a look at Course 1 performance. So what are examiners looking for in performances? First of all, a student who is confident and prepared, a student who is at one with the music. In other words, the piece that you are performing is just so suited to you that no one else could do it any better. A student who is enjoying performing, and a student who makes appropriate use of the musical concepts. So when entering the examination room, greet the examiners. They are very friendly, they won't bite. No need to engage in too much conversation, just hand in your paperwork. Make sure that paperwork has been done well in advance of walking into the room. There's nothing worse than finding that you've made a mistake, even though that's okay, but it can be very unsettling before you start performance. Your examiners will invite you to move to your performance space and do a quick warm-up and a sound check, and then you're on. During the performance, at the end of each item, the examiners will need a small amount of time to complete their comments. During this time, you can have a drink of water, do a quick sound check, and the examiners will signal you when they are ready. They'll also give instructions as to when to leave the room to bring other people in to be part of your performance. And just some helpful hints. If you make a mistake during your performance, don't panic, just keep going. Your marks will not be adversely affected if a mistake is a one-off. Be totally comfortable with your ensemble. Less is sometimes better. Markers are marking your performance, so you don't always need to have too many people around you, just the ones that you enjoy working with and have had plenty of time to practice with. One of the most important parts of performance too is try to stick to one instrument if possible. Everyone has a best, so make sure that you choose that particular performing media. If you choose to accompany yourself singing, you will be marked for the whole performance item, not just the singing or the accompaniment, but both. And now the Musicology Viva Voce. Now your requirements. Please remember that the Viva Voce is not a presentation, it's a discussion with your examiners. The best tool of discussion is a live instrument, for example a guitar, a keyboard, or singing, for example clapping, held or played by you, the candidate. The next best tools to assist with discussion are musical examples via stereo, CD player or an iPod, in a dock preferably, and some sheet music. Other equipment, laptop, iPad, visual recordings are fine, provided you have had plenty of practice using them. Now into the discussion. Usually the first question I like to ask is, why have you chosen this topic? What is it about the music that you find interesting? And notice that I've used the word find interesting, not like. This then gets the discussion off to a start. And usually most candidates are quite comfortable at that point. At this point, you'll probably be asked to play a recording of one of your discussion pieces. Your discussion questions will focus on your ability to apply the musical concepts to your chosen pieces. The main problems that examiners find with this particular section of the HSC is equipment unreliability, so all the more reason to keep it simple. Try and remember that it's the discussion that's the important part, not all the visual aids. The next problem usually is candidates not fully understanding the concepts. You must have a good grasp of those to apply them to your discussion. Candidates need to have a wider listening experience. You need to listen to all sorts of music so that you can include that in your discussion as well. And one of the main problems also is candidates making generalised comments through lack of research. So when the comments are generalised, it's not backing them up sufficiently. So the solutions. Listen to lots of different music. Examiners want to hear about the music, not how great you think the musician is, or his or her clothes, what they've done recently, that sort of thing. Make sure that you have chosen a style of music that you are passionate about, and the rest will be easy. And of course, practice, practice, practice. Also, get some of your other teachers to ask you questions. Even if they know nothing about music, most will say, test yourself by answering their questions musically. And some handy hints for you. Learn to direct the discussion to where you want it to go. Don't worry if you don't know the answer to a probing question, that's good as a matter of fact. Steer the discussion to a known area. For example, I haven't found that, but I have found that, etc., etc. Try to avoid the statement, I don't know. Keep your summary sheet brief but clear and set out your chosen pieces for discussion. Make sure that you have at least 2 extra copies of the summary sheets to give to your examiners. Know the musical layers in each of your examples. When an example is played, you will probably be asked what is playing in the background. So even though you may be focusing on a certain concept, once the music is played for the examiner or sheet music is shown to the examiner, then they can ask you what they like from those examples.